What's up, everyone? Welcome to Don't Fake the Funk MMA Vista number 6. Sunday night here. Last night we had this Brazil event, Shogun against St. Pro, and the day before in Australia, Sydney, Australia, Bisping against Rockhold. Yeah, we did some predictions last week, and yeah, it didn't turn out too good. But in my opinion, the Sydney card was one of the best cards in a while, for sure. 11 finishes, 11 fights, so nothing to complain there. Luke Rockhold looked very good in the main event. Great submission. First time Michael Bisping has ever been submitted, so yeah, very solid win for Luke Rockhold, and possibly now the rematch against Jacare next for him, for the next title shot, I guess. It's a possibility. What's up with you, Lucas?
I think the rematch with Jacare would be the smartest thing, and I think it's a fight everybody wants to see. I mean, Luke Rockhold is getting better and better. And by the way, I picked those fights fucked up on NyQuil and cough syrup. Please don't ever let me pick fights again when I'm like high on fucking opiates, because I'm embarrassing myself. Yeah, I think Luke Rockhold is definitely climbing up there. Jacare is right up there in the mix. I think they should fight. That would be the smart thing, and a tremendous fight too.
Yeah, definitely. Middleweight is pretty damn good right now, and also Yoel Romero, the Cuban guy, he's also on top, and there were rumors about Jacare against him, but
he's an Olympic wrestler, right?
Yeah, he's an Olympic wrestler. Yeah,
he's got power in his hands
he's a
too,
beast,
like Jacare does. So that would be a great fight as well.
Yeah, but like if I had to say who deserves it more, I would say that
Rockhold.
Yeah, Rockhold has more
Definitely
impressive wins. Bisping is, I mean, Romero just beat Tim Kennedy, and Tim Kennedy beat Bisping, so there's a little bit of that, but I feel like Rockhold just makes a little more sense maybe than Jacare would be. I would prefer Jacare against Luke Rockhold too. And then Romero's still on top. I mean, he could still get another fight and then get a title shot or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Romero will bring a fucking milking stool taped to his ass into the octagon next time, so he can take fucking breaks whenever he wants to.
It was fucking hilarious.
That was pathetic, man. You can't let him like sit there for a fucking minute, like resting, just like I don't know what you mean, fighting.
And he came out and beat the fuck out of Tim Kennedy.
Yeah, he did.
Oh my god. Well, then last night, I actually, the main event here in Germany, if you want to watch the main card, it starts at 4 a.m. So I went to bed at 11, woke up at 4 and watched the main card, which turned out to be fucking bullshit.
Well, the only thing, the undercard was great. I took a nap too. I woke up just in time for the undercard, which was great. They had great fights. The main card, let's be honest, it fucking sucked. And that main event, the only thing you can say about that is that's the thing we could say.
No fucking comment about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was sad, man.
We both picked Shogun, and yeah, that's all we're gonna say about that.
Yeah.
Let's go to next weekend, Saturday next week, UFC 180.
180.
UFC Mexico City.
Oh shit.
We're gonna do predictions for 3 fights, just the last 3 on the card, because the rest are not really big names, so to say. Yeah, and the card has been hit with a couple injuries. Eric Perez was supposed to fight. I don't remember who, but he was supposed to fight. He got injured. Then Diego Sanchez against Joe Lawson was set up, and both got injured.
Yeah, that's that. That could have been I was looking forward to that one. That would have been a good fight.
Oh yeah, and then the biggest Mexican star, or he's not even Mexican, but he's still the biggest star in Mexico.
Yeah, but he is sort of Mexican. I mean, his parents must be Mexican, right?
Yeah, and Kane heavyweight champion. He got injured, and now interim title Fabricio Werdum against Mark Hunt. But let's start with Ricardo Lamas against Dennis Bermudez. Featherweight fight. Dennis Bermudez on a 7-fight winning streak, right? Or 6?
Yeah,
7
fight.
fight. Very impressive lately, especially his last 2 fights, in my opinion.
Yeah, the fucking TKO versus whoever it was, and Clay Guida, the rear naked choke was great.
He dominated Clay Guida. He really
the guy saw no land, man. He was just all over him.
Yeah, Dennis Bermudez definitely on a roll right now. And Ricardo Lamas, his last fight against Hakran Diaz, after he lost in his title shot against Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
Still, very dangerous fighter, very well-rounded, solid ground game.
I mean, he beat Cub Swanson.
Arm triangle.
Yeah, and he beat Eric Cope too, versus via TKO, right?
Yeah, he's still very good. And I mean, he didn't get totally destroyed in the Aldo fight, you know.
Exactly.
So that's a very tough fight to predict for me. And I would favor maybe a little bit Ricardo Lamas. Just feel like he might be a little more polished, so to say, you know. And Dennis Bermudez sometimes gets a little wild with his striking and all.
Yeah.
So remember the fight against Matt Grice? Oh my god, It was crazy. So I'm gonna go in this one just with it's close, but I'm going with Ricardo Lamas by decision, mixing it up maybe a little better than Dennis Bermudez. The only problem is that Dennis Bermudez is such a physical beast at his weight class. So
exactly,
it might be a problem for Lamas to get him to the ground.
Exactly, that would be like the only thing that I see that would make like a big difference between the two of them. I mean, Dennis Bermudez might not be as polished or technically as sound as Ricardo Lamas is, but I think that's the thing that could change that. And just to pick against you, I'm going with Dennis Bermudez via decision.
All right. Yeah, I mean sometimes it's so fucking tough to pick winners, you know. But yeah, we gotta pick someone. And then it's
the next fight is going to be a tough one to pick as well. Jake Ellenberger versus Calvin Gastelum.
Oh, actually, for me, that's not as tough as the one before. Not at all. Like I'm pretty sure Gastelum will win, honestly, because lately Ellenberger just has looked that good. He's been on maybe a little bit of a decline, and
I don't know if it's a decline or if it's just like a little bump in the road. You know, I mean, Rory McDonald, he's a fucking douchebag as well, but he's a good fighter. You got to give him that. And he lost to Robbie Lawler, which is a fucking tremendous fighter as well.
Yeah.
But I have to agree. I think Kevin Gastelum has this fight won. I'm pretty sure he will win.
Yeah, maybe not a finish, because I mean Rory McDonald dominated Jake Ellenberger basically with his jab.
Yeah,
3 rounds, and Robbie Lawler is a fucking beast. I mean, he could finish pretty much anyone.
He proved that,
yeah. And I mean, Ellenberger is still dangerous. He has huge power, solid wrestler, but Gastelum, his striking has really looked a lot better lately, and also his ground game. That he has this strong wrestling base, but also
the 10th planet influence.
Yeah, not only that, just overall jiu-jitsu looks pretty damn good. In this win against this Brian Melancon, he dropped him and then immediately jumped on his back, like took his back in like a second.
Choked him, yeah.
Yeah, choked him, rear naked choke. So yeah, I'm going with Gastelum, either by decision or late stoppage. But yeah, I'm on the record decision.
I'm going with Gastelum decision as well. I think that's a good one. you know, Jake Ellenberger, of course, he's still dangerous. He's a great fighter, but you know, you have to make it. You know, you have to like pinpoint it somewhere. Like that's why. And you know, just judging by the papers, you know, he's on a little bit of a downward slope. You don't know if he's coming back up again. But judging by that, you know, you have to give it to Gastelum, and I think he's. I mean, the guy's 9-0 right now.
Mhm.
He looked really good in his last couple of fights. Um, yeah, I think he's got that one.
Also, another factor might be that since the McDonald fight, Ellenberger looked a little like maybe afraid, you know, like holding back too much against Robbie Lawler too. He couldn't pull the
Yeah,
trigger really. And right now he's on a 2-fight losing streak, and if he loses this next fight, you know, he could get cut, or he's so way down the ladder that it's almost impossible to get back up, you know, in the title contention picture. So it's a very important fight for Jake Ellenberger, and might be a lot of pressure on him.
yeah. So
Which,
he could make either he comes out fucking swinging and he fucking catches him, or he makes a mistake.
yeah,
We will see. Maybe he keeps his composure and he stays cool too, but I think the pressure is on him definitely.
yeah. Lately he just looked mentally a little, yeah, not as focused and not as sharp, you know. His
Hmm.
last 2 fights, so he couldn't pull the trigger at all. He didn't do really against McDonald. He didn't do anything, and against Lawler, I think there were a few moments where he exploded forward, but then got countered right away. And
Yeah,
then he's like, "Oh shit, I'm not going to do that." So yeah, you know,
and you know,
yeah,
especially against like that kind of competition, you can't do that. You know, it's you're gonna pay any, and he paid against Robbie Lawler.
yeah, he got beat up.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Then let's go to the main event.
Oh shit, the fucking Super Samoan.
Fabricio Vai Cavallo Werdum against Mark Super Simone Hunt. Interim title fight. Just real quick, what do you think about like interim titles? Do you see them as like legit? Yeah, he was a heavyweight champ, so to say. Like Big Knock, he was an interim heavyweight champion,
Hmm.
and it always like when he fights, they announce him as a former, you know, champ and all.
Yeah, but that I don't think if you've just been the interim champion and you get beat by the actual champion, I don't think they should announce you as champion. That's sort of weird to me. Sometimes it makes sense to like do that, but I think they're a little quick these days, you know, with like bashing out interim belts just to, you know, I don't know what they're trying to do if they think the fans need that to be satisfied to say that like, that's or maybe it's just to you know create um, a little more revenue and a little more attention while
Yeah,
the actual
that's a
champs hurt. You know,
big point, I guess.
yeah. I that's personally my opinion. I think that's why they do it. So I don't think it's that much of a meaning to it. But if you're gonna do it, you know, it's I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but still, I agree with you that it's probably they feel like they can get more attention, get more pay-per-view buys, because now
Yeah,
it's still a title fight, and when
exactly.
Kane comes back, they can do like a big, maybe even again in Mexico. I mean, next
Yeah.
year they could go to Mexico again and do one there.
I
Then
think they will do it. I mean, they're not gonna pass by that money they're making
yeah,
down there with Ken Velasquez. Definitely not. It's the UFC after all.
you know, then interim champion unification bout against real champion Kane, and you know all that stuff. But you know, an interim title made definitely made sense when Dominic Cruz was injured for like 2.5 years, and Renan Barao became champion, and he also defended the interim title like 3 times. And
Yeah,
then finally they said, yeah, you're the real champion now, because Dominic Cruz got injured again, and then they're like, oh, you're the real champion now. And you know, then all those the kind of the unification fight, so to say, didn't work out because TJ Dillashaw got between it and yeah, beat Barao. So yeah, whatever. Right now, again, let's talk about Fabricio Werdum against Mark Hunt. What's your take?
It's again like that again is a fight like with Shogun. You know, it's like I've seen Mark Hunt like forever in K1 and in Pride. You know, so it's kind of hard to pick against him. You know, I mean, like the fight versus Junior Dos Santos was like he got knocked out, you know, and pretty how do you say it? Well, legit too, you know. That was a nice kick. But before that, I mean, look at you know he fucking TKO'd Chai Congo. He TKO'd Stefan Struve, the fucking
Well, that
skyscraper.
was a legit KO though.
Yeah, and he knocked the fuck out of Roy Nelson. However you do that, I
Yeah.
don't understand. Um, Fabricio Verdum, I think his stand up is definitely like consistently getting more solid, you know. And I think you know ground wise, Mark Hunt can't keep up with Fabricio Verdum at any level. That's for sure, you know.
Yeah, that's 100%. I mean, no one. I think. I guess for me, Fabricio Werdum's ground game or jiu-jitsu and MMA
In MMA, yeah,
is
definitely one of the
one of
best
the
out there.
best for me. Him and Jacare are the best right now.
Yeah, Jacare
Those two,
definitely.
and then number 3 is like it's tough to say, but Werdum and Jacare top 2 in my opinion in BJJ and MMA.
Yeah, plus they're like anacondas, you know, they're right onto you. There's no space. They're always perfectly tight. They're like clutches on you, you know?
Especially Fabricio Werdum's guard, so dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like we've seen a
And
couple times against Fedor, and yeah, he has a lot of solid wins.
yeah, and I think the fight is gonna be, you know, it's again styles make fights, you know. I think it's gonna be how the fight is gonna go, you know.
Yeah,
Man, it's a tough that's really tough to pick, you
there's
know.
also a little bit of background information here because Mark Hunt is a late replacement, and
Yes.
Mexico City is on high altitude. So Mark Hunt also mentioned that he had to cut like 35 pounds in a couple of weeks. You know, he's gonna do it, but you know, he said, yeah, it's not gonna be that easy. And also to get used to the altitude, he went to Mexico, but Fabricio Werdum has been training there for over a month now, I guess. I read.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
he's been there a
And
while, so that could,
and like I said
who
earlier,
knows?
it's with Mark Hunt, it's the case again. You know, like with Shogun, you don't want to pick against the guy. You know, I've watched him like in K1 since forever. You know, I've watched him in MMA for a real long time, and I really like him. You know what? I'm not gonna do the same thing I did with Shogun. I'm gonna go with Fabricio Verdum is gonna win this one, and let's say via submission. Let's say that. Why not?
Yeah, because that's what I'm a little worried about. Because Mark Hunt has developed solid takedown defense recently, like his hip movement and all. Like he can shrug off takedowns kind of and get up from the ground, like create scrambles and get back to his feet. But
Hmm.
when against Bigfoot Silva got dropped. I guess he got dropped, or Hunt even took him down, and then Hunt was confident enough to stay in his guard and all. And I guess that would be a very, very bad idea against Werdum if he drops him or something like that. Like we've seen against Fedor. Fedor dropped him and followed him to the ground. The
Yeah.
lockdown and triangle choke and armbar, you know, fucking done. So I don't think Hunt would do that, but yeah, on the ground, if Werdum somehow gets a takedown, drags him to the ground somehow, yeah, it's very dangerous then. Also, like you said, Fabricio Werdum's striking has been looking very good against in his last fight against Travis Brown. I remember we did a prediction video about that fight. Don't Fake the Funk, and I had Werdum by submission because I really didn't give him that much of a chance in the stand-up. I don't remember what you picked. I think you had Brown.
I
Travis
think I
Brown.
did, yeah, but I'm not sure either.
Yeah, but we weren't really sure that Werdum could win in that way, that dominating Brown 5 rounds via striking.
Yeah,
So that
definitely.
was very surprising for me, at least. Thing is with Mark Hunt, he doesn't have to win in a striking battle, like dominate in the striking. He just needs one punch, and his setups to punches up, his angles and ways he can knock you out. There's a few ways. He doesn't really has only one weapon like Roy Nelson has his overhand right.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark Hunt is so kind of sneaky with his striking. You know, this short uppercut, lead left hook. He can knock you out from anywhere pretty much.
And he can not only knock you out with his hands, but with his legs too. He's not. I don't think he's showing a lot of it. Maybe because he's afraid, to get taken down way easier. But in K1, he was kicking people too, bad.
Yeah, his body kicks were pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean that's a tough one. But I'm going with Hunt by KO in this one. I'm going with Hunt. He'll somehow pull it off, like maybe avoid. Like if I try to think about what will Werdum's game plan be, stay outside and try to pick him apart from distance, striking kicks and all, or go inside, and because Fabricio Werdum's clinch is also very good. So it's his Muay Thai clinch. So will he go inside and try to get into a clinch situation, maybe take him down? But then Mark Hunt is so dangerous there. A short punch can change the whole fight. So I'm going with Hunt by KO in, let's say, round 2. I could see that the first round that Hunt avoids a couple dangerous situations, then gets a KO, becomes interim champ. That would be such a, I guess, one of the best comeback stories in MMA ever.
It would be, and I would wish for it, but I'm really torn with this. I really like Mark Hunt. Like I said, I've watched him forever, and I'm really torn. I just don't. I don't know. It's like this weird feeling, So I'm going with Fabricio Werdum on this one,
Yeah, I definitely am. I like Mark Hunt as well, but I also like Fabricio Werdum because of his jiu-jitsu and MMA and all. He's such a great representative for jiu-jitsu in MMA. So I like both guys, but I honestly feel like Mark Hunt could get it done. So it's not like we're betting money here, Yeah,
we might be though.
Yeah.
The first time for any of us, right?
Yeah, but betting money, I always say, picking winners and betting winners is a different story,
Yeah, it is. You gotta go with locks,
Yeah, and also depending on the odds and stuff, You're not always picking the guy you really think will 100% win. Sometimes if there's a little risk involved, like in the Ricardo Lamas Bermudez fight, if I don't know who's the favorite there, but let's say Bermudez is the underdog, I could see that I put some money on Bermudez because for me it's such a close fight there, But I'm picking Lamas right now, but such a close fight that it could be worth it to put some money on Bermudez there.
Yeah, because you get back
Exactly.
accordingly.
Exactly. So let's go through the picks again. Ricardo Lamas, Dennis Bermudez. You got Bermudez by decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got Lamas by decision. Then Jake Ellenberger, Calvin Gastelum. We both go with Gastelum.
Definitely.
Yeah, by decision, or I could see even late stoppage. Who knows? Then Fabricio Werdum against Mark Hunt. You got Werdum by submission.
Yeah.
Round. Doesn't really matter, but
Yeah, I think it's going to be rather if it's happening, it's going to be rather early. Like second round.
yeah, I'm going with Hunt by KO in the second round. All right, then.
So we'll see if we did better than last episode. Let's fucking hope so.
I went 1 and 2, and you went 0 and 3.
No, I didn't. I still Uncle Creepy was out with blood infection. I take that as a win for me. Fuck it.
Yeah, Lineker beat him.
Yeah.
Gave him 8.
Universe beat him. I don't give a fuck.
Right. All right then, and thanks to everyone who listened to the last one, and we're gonna put this.
And thank you for listening to this one, if you did.
Yeah, if you will. We're gonna put this on YouTube first, and then later on it's gonna be on iTunes and also on Stitcher. If you go on Stitcher and just type in "fist button," 2 words, Don't Fake the Funk will pop up. And thanks again to Danny Pin for hooking us up.
He's a top bloke.
Yeah, definitely.
Fucking top bloke, eh? Crikey, mate.
Shout out to Jason G, who went to the fights on Friday night.
Yeah, he kept us posted. And thanks for taking that nice pic of Adam's ass. I really enjoyed it. I was beating off like a motherfucker.
Right. All right then. Thanks to everyone, and see you next time on Don't Fake
the Funk.
Funk.